and then Ron decided to have a meeting. This meeting started round about 8 o'clock at night and finished in the early hours of the morning. The most surprising thing was we was all friends on the pitch, but that night all hell let loose.
Nobody really performed well, so it could have been anybody. And unfortunately for Martin, he was the one that was pulled out. And I don't really know why. As I think Martin said, was I the only one who ever played bad? And he wasn't all played bad that night.
The pitch was probably the worst pitch I've ever played on. The game should never have been played for a start off. It was absolutely horrendous out there.
And did Greenwood say anything to you after the match?
Just well done to the whole team, that was all. We never ever singled me out with praise anyway, so I didn't worry about that.
Because of the people I was mixing with and because of what happened, I became an arrogant so-and-so really for a little while. It took me quite a while to come to terms with that and realise that what I'd said, and as I said, I used to walk down that passageway every morning until this one morning, and I thought, you can't go around saying things like that to the manager, you can't. And from there on in, as I said, I was a changed person.
The difference between Ron Greenwood to me and Ted Fenton was that Ron Greenwood was a perfectionist, you know, and he loved neat football, didn't like contact, but he loved stroking the ball about, using it and bringing it down and not.
No, he was phenomenal, Budgie, as a motivator in the Harry mould, but tactically brilliant as well, and his knowledge of football, you know, second to none. But and he could talk football night, day, 24 hours a day. Budgie, it was in his blood.
God, but he was up to everything, the Budge. He was a fidgety and he wanted to play tricks on players. And I'm saying, why the heck don't you go to sleep or go to bed somewhere?
Ron's pet one, he got away with murder. He really did. Got away with murder.
And for me, the best defender I've ever seen.
What can you say? What can you say? You can't say nothing about the greatest captain England's ever had, and probably the greatest player they've ever had. Great player, and come with a great person.
The amount of times I used to go around the back, I was always a defensive-minded person. And any ball coming down towards Moro, I would always try and go around the back of him, because I think if he misses that, you know, we're in trouble. And I used to go around the back of him, but he never did. He never used to miss it.
Bobby was a one-off, a great fella, unassuming, just a likeable man, and great company socially, and as we all know, great player, one to play with, and it was a privilege to play with him.
His coffin went down Green Street, I was told. So me and a mate, Nutty Ted, he still goes over there, we went down and we bunged the doorman down the City of London. Bunged him, and he showed us where Moro's grave was. That was about 2 months after he died. 30th of July, when they won the World Cup, we always go over there, me and Bootsy, put flowers down all the time on the 30th of July. I've missed a couple of years lately, but we used to go all the time at first, put flowers down for the kid. Yeah.
They had a calmness about them, and it was almost like you could feel that we were going to win. It was just a feeling that these guys gave across, that they weren't going to let this slip. You know, especially someone like John Bond, who had that. You could see that this was his last chance in his football career. That all footballers want to do is play in a cup final.
Yeah, we went to the dog track and we trained there because they said that was the nearest looking pitch to Wembley. You know, that was a good team. You know, when you look round, you know, what would I have been nervous for when we had like Moro, Budgie, you know, Bondy and Brownie and people like that in the side, you know, young Boyce as well. You know, we didn't have to be afraid of no one. You know, we already went to Manchester United and beat more, you know, Charlton and Best and them, so we weren't frightened.
I went for it, caught him afterwards, but it was after I played the ball out for a throw-in, and Mr. Holland came by me and he said, You don't want to be the first one to be sent off in the cup final, do you? And I nearly choked. I was nearly sick because if it had happened now, I'd have been off. I'd have been off without a shadow of doubt.
You really are in a totally different world when you actually score at Wembley in the cup final.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you wouldn't have thought about your celebration, it would have just been spontaneous.
Well, you've only got to watch the film. It's none of the celebrations in any of the games in that era was about diving on players and taking their shirts off and running around the pitch 3 times. It was a handshake, slap on the back, well done, thank you very much, let's get on with the game. Yeah. And that's how football was played in those days. There was none of the writhing and rolling about and all the nonsense that goes on with players today.
Yeah, I wasn't really looking forward to extra time, to be honest. But no, you've done it at times. I just felt, they wouldn't perhaps appreciate the fact that I would have got forward in the first place. And Peter Bray, a great little delivery for me, and it was. I could see it all the way, and it seemed like an eternity before the crowd reacted, before appreciating the fact that it had gone in. But because I'm looking like that, and I thought, well, perhaps it's gone outside, but no, it was just one of them things, but it was just marvellous, but again, I honestly felt I'd given something. I helped to give something back to those people who given me support over the years, which was marvellous.
At the end of the game on the pitch, David Coleman interviewed you for the BBC interview.
Yes.
Nobby Lawton and yourself,
right.
The goal scorer and the referee as well.
Right.
And you actually said that. And you've maintained it ever since, that you didn't think you had a good game overall.
No, I wasn't in the game that much. That's what, didn't get plenty of it. Didn't do anything of note as such, other than score the goal. But no, I just thought it was an average game, then put it that way, for me. But of course, you managed to do what I'd done to score the winner, and of course people remember you, by that. They don't worry about the other 89 or 8 minutes, they just worry about that minute it went in.
Just did not want to leave that pitch. It's one of those things that you've dreamt about, and it's going to happen, and it goes away so quickly. Then it was Budgie and the boys, we all went to some nightclub, and I'm afraid I was totally smashed. I remember we got into the lift and not feeling too good, I must say, very, very poorly. What floor are you on? Says, I said, I think I'm on the 20th. So I said, I think we better walk, and they just shoved me in the lift. I think I threw up in the lift.
Yeah, cool. Gee whiz. We couldn't believe we got on I know we had a good celebration on the night, and we got up next morning and we got on the bus and we thought, we're going to look absolutely stupid sitting on this bus like this if there's no one about, aren't there? And we left the centre of London and got to about Aldgate East, somewhere around about there. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, crowds just kept lying in the streets. Could not believe it. Everywhere you looked, there was just people.
Brought me towards the coach, and there's people in there a little bit worse for wear, like coming up and kissing me forehead and things like that, which looking back, well, it's terrific. It's nice to see them smile on their faces. All the way to East Ham Town Hall, there were thousands. Black Lion, the old pub which we frequented, and there's crates of lager and whatever, but to see the joy of Litlands and old age, it was marvellous, and I think, it was the best part of it, to be honest. I think the fact that you were joining in with all those great supporters.
I've never seen or witnessed anything like that ever before. To see so many people
but we didn't just do it for ourselves, we done it for the staff, for the rest of the players that didn't play, for Ron himself, and naturally for ourselves, but it was the fans. And that Sunday morning, there were so many people about, it was a wonder no one was injured. There was no rushing, the police were smiling and throwing your scarves what the spectators would give you. And getting back to the ground, you know, we stayed and had a drink, and I remember I didn't have a car. I went home with my girlfriend at the time, who's later become my wife Anne. We went home from Upton Park by underground and bus to Haringey, where my girlfriend lived, and then I had to go home to Tottenham with my suitcase on the bus, and no one actually knew me. And I was sitting there on the bus with the medal in my pocket, and I thought, I can get hit over the head here.
And on the Sunday morning, my parents and my granddad and myself, we all decided that we would head for Stratford Broadway. We felt that was a good place to see the team coming through on the coach. We felt that we would be able to stand on the roadside and get a good view of them. But when we got to Stratford, it was quite extraordinary, because there were thousands upon thousands of people there. There were 10 deep in some places, and it was an extraordinary atmosphere. And when the team coach appeared with the team on top and Bobby Moore holding the FA Cup, the roars from the crowd were quite deafening. But a very personal story. I think it reflects what winning that trophy meant to the fans of West Ham, and it relates to my old granddad. He had been supporting West Ham since the early 1900s when they were in the Southern League. He'd been to Wembley in 1923 when West Ham played Bolton and lost 2-0 in the first ever FA Cup final at Wembley. So he'd been supporting them a long time, and when the coach came past, he got very emotional, and I think that epitomised the feeling amongst the fans. It meant a great deal to us, and obviously 50 years have now elapsed, and sadly 3 of the team, Bobby Moore, Johnny Byrne and John Bond, have all passed away, so too has Ron Greenwood. But fans of all ages throughout the years should always revere the men of '64, because not only did they win a major trophy, but they put West Ham on the map, and in doing so they literally changed the course of West Ham's history.